I want to talk about Apple Watch Ultra. This thing has been controversial from the moment that we saw the CAD files for this leak the other day. I made fun of it myself too, because look, I'm not sold on the look of this thing. It's, for one, enormous, it's kind of lumpy, and it's very expensive, $800. However, I've had some time to think and ruminate and contemplate every aspect of it, and I have to say, I think Apple has built something that is actually extremely interesting, and today I'm going to tell you why. So hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and let's get into it, shall we? Okay, Apple Watch Ultra. Well, initially, I think there have been two key hot takes that I have seen in my YouTube live chat, on Twitter, and in comments. And that is basically, holy cow, it's expensive, and holy cow, it's kind of big and bulky and ugly. The second point is kind of a 3-in-1, but you get the idea. Now, I can't disagree with any of those, really. However, the more you actually think about it, the more the Apple Watch Ultra might actually make a little bit of sense for some people. And that's actually where we got to start, the for some people, because this Apple Watch is not intending to replace the regular Apple Watch. The Series 8 exists alongside it at the same price that it always has been. And that's obviously intentional. Apple is not trying to say you need to ditch your Apple Watch and get the new Ultra. It's an additional tier for those who want or could use those features. Apple made no attempt to generalize this watch, and I think that's a very interesting choice because when Apple introduces new products, they tend to pitch them to a fairly large audience. Obviously, being Apple, they want to sell as many as possible, but in the case of the Apple Watch Ultra, they didn't really try to make the claim of like, and regular Apple Watch users would enjoy the extra battery life. They went all in. Look at their homepage. It says adventure awaits in orange text. It says meet the most rugged and capable Apple Watch ever. They talk about precision GPS. They talk about bands that are specifically designed for adventurers. In their keynote, they were talking about how it can beep and alert other people if you're stuck in a cave, or it can tell you if you're rising from your dive too quickly. Like, these are not broad, general use cases like detecting if you've been in a car crash. These are specifically designed for athletes. So when regular people get upset and go, ooh, it's too expensive, could you imagine if someone got upset at the cost of the M1 Ultra because they wanted a computer for college? Like, yeah, okay, it's expensive, but that's because it's powerful and that's what it's designed for. We're not talking about an AirPods Max situation here. I mean, a good portion of the keynote was spent talking about how the new Apple Watch Ultra could be a dive computer. And look at the prices on these things. The Garmin Quad-X 7, which is one of the most popular and best looking ones, is $1,000. The Suunto Eon Core, which by the way is distributed by Huish Outdoors, the very same company that worked with Apple on the Apple Watch Ultra, costs $930. So when you look at it in the market that it's actually targeted to, it's not crazy expensive, especially considering that it's a full Apple Watch and not just a specific dive computer. So to me, this looks a little bit more like the Pro Display XDR, where Apple's target was to compete with high-end reference monitors and actually end up undercutting their price, but making it a little bit more broad. So like the Pro Display XDR, I would not be surprised if people determine that a legitimate dive computer is more effective at that task. But what the Apple Watch Ultra is trying to do is to broaden that just a little bit to be more of like a extreme sport and also Apple Watch market. Now, the other thing that I want to point out is that the Apple Watch Ultra is actually less expensive than what it arguably replaces, which I know sounds a little bit weird, so let me clarify. Ever since the Apple Watch first launched back in 2015, they have sold an edition, a luxury version with some fancy case material that was internally and functionally identical, but looked a little nicer, I guess. For the Series 7, that was the titanium model, which started at $799 or $850 with the 45mm case. So what they just did with the Apple Watch Ultra was take the titanium Apple Watch Edition, which had no extra features, and make a titanium Apple Watch Ultra, which has a customizable action button, dive rating, depth gauge, running features, a compass, dual frequency GPS, twice as much battery life, and a larger display. So yeah, that's a lot. And keep in mind, that's actually $50 less than the previous 45mm titanium Apple Watch Edition. So I frankly don't really see what's wrong with this watch. Okay, I know that the looks are not for everyone. I'm pretty torn on it myself. It's really big. It's got that lump on the side. I am by no means sold on it. But my point is that Apple took the expensive and pointless Apple Watch Edition and turned it into the expensive but feature-rich Apple Watch Ultra for the same price, or realistically, a little less. I really don't see what's wrong with that. Now, we can talk about the Apple Watch Series 8 and what's wrong with that, because I think it's boring and basically does nothing, but the criticism of the Apple Watch Ultra has mainly been it's ugly or it's expensive. Like, yeah, of course, $800 for a watch is a tough pill to swallow, but no one's asking you to swallow it. This isn't a replacement for the $400 Apple Watch that everyone knows. This is an additional model. And to be honest, I think it's actually a pretty cool idea. It's refreshing for Apple to make a higher end Apple Watch that actually has its own function rather than just being, slightly nicer materials and a leather band. Plus, if you actually compare it to the aluminum Apple Watch 45mm with cellular, it's a $270 difference. And even for someone like myself who doesn't particularly have a need for a dive computer, honestly, $270 to get 36 hours of battery life, that larger display, which I always love to have, that much more durable enclosure, these are all things that honestly could be worth it for even people who don't want to use it for all of those hiking, adventure-y, diving things. But I'm really curious to hear what you guys think about all of this. Has this video changed your perspective on the new Apple Watch Ultra? Are you planning on getting one? Are you getting a Series 8? If not, let me know all of that stuff in the comments below. And of course, thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next one.